Welcome to another edition of Dave Smith Unleashed, and boy, it is NBA Finals time, and I would imagine there was a lot of wailing, a lot of gnashing of teeth, a lot of people maybe heading up to the top floor, to the roof of skyscrapers in New York, being talked off the ledge. NBA owners, Adam Silver, anybody doing business with the National Basketball Association, sponsors, probably ready to leap to their deaths. And you know why? Because we got the number 44 television market in Oklahoma City going up against the number 25 television market, Indianapolis, Indiana, with the Thunder against the Pacers. You know, this is historic. This is the first time there's ever been two small market teams playing in the NBA Finals. Yeah, Utah made it a couple of years in a row, but they were playing the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls. Small market teams have been there, but they're usually playing against big market teams, like when the Pacers made it in 2000. They were playing the Shaq, Kobe, Phil Jackson Lakers. And the NBA usually does not permit two small market teams. And if it looks like it's going to be two small market teams, well, they send in Dick Bavetta and his crew. They send in Scott Foster and his crew. That's the most recent. They send in Zoe Crawford back in the day and his crew to ensure that a series at worst will get extended so they can make more money, and at best, they'll get a team over, much like WWF, WWE wrestling. But boy, for the first time, it's happened here. Wow, Dave Smith and Dave Smith Unleashed, brought to you by MTS. For all your freight, trucking, and shipping needs, call them at 800-640-6873. 800-640-6873 for reliable, on-time delivery, compliance you can count on, round-the-clock support, superior communication, experienced logistic partners, and mention Dave Smith Unleashed and get 20% off your next shipment. Call them at 800-640-6873, 800-640-6873, again, for all your shipping, trucking, and freight needs. And speaking of MTS, how about the giveaway here on Dave Smith Unleashed? We have 4 tickets to a Dodgers game on July 2nd against the Chicago White Sox. Row 3. 4 tickets right up there near the field to get a close-up look at Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman and the great Dodger team that won the World Series last year. Complimentary parking, access to the Stadium Club, and again, 4 tickets, 3 rows from the field. Fantastic stuff. Well, Dave, how do I win? Well, here's how you win. First of all, you have to be a subscriber to Dave Smith Unleashed, so make sure you go to YouTube and subscribe. Second of all, you have to comment down in the comment section below. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment, and make sure you view. View, comment, and subscribe, and of course, then you're eligible to win 4 Dodger tickets July 2nd against the Chicago White Sox, courtesy of MTS Transportation and Dave Smith Unleashed. All right, back to the NBA Finals. And I'll have to admit, I did not think that the Indiana Pacers would beat the New York Knicks. Now, did I come to that opinion because I thought the Knicks were a better team? No. I thought the Pacers were the better team. I came to that opinion because I didn't think the NBA, Adam Silver, and the sponsors would allow a small market team to get through unless they were playing the Lakers or the Golden State Warriors, big market power teams. If the Lakers or the Warriors get in, well, then fine. Then we can have Cleveland in there. Then we can have Indiana in there. And maybe we can have a small market team. But under no circumstances can we have 2 small market teams. But that's what we have. Boy, and I'll make a prediction right now. This is going to be the lowest rated NBA Finals of all time. Now, because it's going to be a bad series? No, I think it'll be a good competitive series. I think it'll be fun to watch. I would much rather see the Indiana Pacers in there in the finals instead of the Knicks. I think because the Pacers play up and down, they shoot a lot of threes. They're a fun, exciting team to watch, as are the Oklahoma City Thunder with the NBA's MVP and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You know, the Knicks are gritty. They're hard-nosed. They defend. They're well-coached. They play hard for 48 minutes. But to me, they're not a fun team to watch. These two are. Now, I'll be watching, yes. Will Joe Public, will the casual sports fan, will the fans who maybe tune in to the finals the only time they watch the NBA all year, will they be tuning in? No. Because as great as SGA is, because as good as Tyrese Halliburton is, unless you follow the NBA, you don't know who they are. They're unknowns. They're players nobody's ever heard of. It ain't exactly Larry Bird and Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan. Boy, speaking of that, those were the days, huh? Well, I can remember back in the 80s, the Bird Magic Finals, it happened 3 different times, with the Lakers winning 2 out of the 3. And that was living in Los Angeles at the time, and I'm sure it was the same in Boston, maybe even worse. There was electricity in the air during the finals. Everywhere you went, when you went to the mall, they were selling T-shirts and hats. Everywhere on the street, people on the corners were selling Lakers merch, finals merch, even Celtics merch. And the whole city came to a halt. I think the whole country came to a halt for those Bird Magic Finals. And the funny thing is, me, born and raised in Los Angeles, my mother, born and raised in the Boston area. She's from Fall River, Massachusetts, about 50 miles south of Boston. A huge, ginormous, lifelong Boston Celtics fan. And I hated the Celtics, of course, and I was a Lakers fan growing up in L.A. I was the Showtime Lakers were my team. My mom and I literally would have to watch those finals in separate rooms because we'd be at each other's throats. My mom would be wearing her Celtics gear. I'd be wearing Lakers gear. We'd both be cheering at the top of our lungs. We couldn't be in the same room together. My dad would have to kind of play a referee and peacekeeper. This ain't exactly that, is it? The Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let me ask a question to the NBA as well. Where was Scott Foster in Game 5 in Indiana when the Pacers closed him out? I thought for sure they were going to trot him out. That's like, Scott Foster to the NBA. That's kind of like, remember Dangerous Danny Davis back in the day, WWE referee, or Jesse the Body Ventura or Bobby Heenan, special guest referee? That's kind of the same thing. And Scott Foster got the Knicks over in Game 3 when they lost the first 2 at home. Then they won that road game in Indiana, which is why I thought they were going to be okay. But then he was never seen again. I thought for sure he'd be Indiana in Game 5. And if not him, maybe Vince McMahon would be on the court officiating because they could not have Indiana winning. And I tell you what, the NBA is going to lose tens of millions of dollars with this final. 44 television market against the number 25 television market. And if you know how this works, they give sponsors guaranteed ratings. And to put that into the layman's terms, like just pick a number out of a random number. Okay, we're going to get a 6. Our rating's going to be a 6 in the finals. Guaranteed. Now, if it's below 6 or below whatever you promised the sponsors, then the NBA's got to pay them back. They've got to make up the difference out of their own pockets, and that means it comes out of the owners' pockets. And that means we can't have 2 small market teams in the finals, and that's why it's never happened before this year. It's no coincidence 2 small market teams haven't played in the finals, unless it's LeBron playing with Cleveland. They would make an exception then. And it's no coinky-dink that Dick Bavetta and Joey Crawford and Scott Foster's crews always show up when the NBA needs a certain team to win. But it didn't happen this year. It is unbelievable. Now, here's another question. I was thinking about this today. Let's say, now I don't think this is going to happen because I don't think they have a good enough team, but let's say Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever make the WNBA finals. Now, it doesn't really matter who they're playing. And nobody cares if it's Angel Reese or not because she's not any good and nobody gives one damn about Jussie Smollett, Angel Reese, the race hoaxer. Just look at the numbers, the attendance and the ratings. In games, Angel Reese plays where she's not up against Caitlin Clark. Nobody cares and nobody watches. The Fever are going to play in Chicago against the Sky coming up on June 7th. And that game was going to be a sellout. Because of Angel Reese, Jussie Smollett Reese? No. Because Caitlin Clark wasn't. The fact that Caitlin Clark will not be playing because of that quad injury. They're selling tickets now for 90% below face value. Well, wait a minute. Well, I thought Jussie Smollett, Angel Reese, I thought she was just as good as Caitlin. I thought the media tells me that the 2 of them together were the reason that the WNBA had higher ratings and higher attendance than ever before. It was because of the 2 of them. They're like Bird and Magic. That's what the biased, agenda-driven, disgraceful, shameful media tries to tell us. And by the way, Angel Reese, I think, is the worst professional basketball player I've ever seen. And I've seen Mark Landsberger. That says it all right there. She's shooting 31% from the floor this year. I'm looking at her stats here. 6 games in with the Chicago Sky. 31%. She's a 6'3" post player. She's always around the rim. She's only taken 3 3-point shots this season in 6 games. You know what her percentage is of layups this year? 33%. That's worse than anybody in the history of professional basketball, man or woman. She gets more shots blocked, and she misses more layups than anybody in basketball history. And I would guarantee you that. She stinks. She's terrible. Anybody comparing her or mentioning her in the same breath as Caitlin Clark is just an agenda-driven, a blinded idiot. If you've ever watched the basketball game in your life, you know there's no comparison. Okay. And by the way, before I get back to this, remember when Angel Reese, the race hoaxer, made up that story about the Indiana fans making monkey noises, after she got fouled by Caitlin Clark and she missed her free throw, which turned out not to be true. The WNBA, of course, they immediately launched an investigation, and there was nothing to it. It went away because it didn't happen. It was a lie. Just like Angel Reese lied last summer when she said they were pulling into their hotel in Indianapolis and some Caitlin Clark Indiana Fever fan came running up to the Sky Team bus, was yelling racial slurs, and then stepped in front of the bus, stepped in front of the door, and blocked them so they couldn't come out. Well, Jussie Smollett Reese, that was another lie. Because fortunately for this guy who was accused, he filmed the whole thing on his camera phone, and nothing of the sort happened. All he did, he asked Kennedy Carter, have you spoken with Caitlin Clark? Have you made amends with Caitlin? This was after the cheap shot that Kennedy Carter took at her. That's the only thing he asked her. Angel Reese made up a lie. Angel Reese lied about the monkey noises. Angel Reese reposted a racist video about Caitlin Clark saying scared little white girl, a racist TikTok video. Brittany Griner called Caitlin Clark trash effing white girl. Got on tape and you could read her lips. Well, I thought the WNBA launched an investigation right away after the alleged monkey noises to Angel Reese. No space for hate. That's our policy. No space for hate. And then they released a statement. The WNBA stands against racism and hatred and prejudice. It has no place in our league or in society. Really, even when it's made up and fake, even when it's a race hoax by Jussie Smollett Reese. Yeah, sure. By the way, where's the investigation into Angel Reese for the race hoaxing and the reposting a racist TikTok video about Caitlin Clark? Why didn't any WNBA reporter ask her about that after the game? Where's the investigation into what Brittany Griner called Caitlin Clark a trash effing white girl? Why didn't any WNBA reporter ask her about that after the game? This goes to say what I've been saying all along. The real racism in the WNBA is against Caitlin Clark. And not only is it not investigated, it's applauded and encouraged by the league, which is shameful and disgraceful, and by the media, which is why we hate them. So anyway, the reason I brought them up is if Caitlin Clark makes the finals this year in the WNBA, no matter who they're playing, will it get better ratings than this Pacers Thunder series? Now, I started thinking about this today. And I said to myself, you know what? I never thought in a million years I think that the WNBA would catch up to the NBA in attendance and ratings. But I'm guaranteeing you this right now. If the Indiana Fever make the WNBA finals, they will get better ratings and better attendance numbers than this Pacers Thunder series. And I never thought I'd be saying that. I guarantee you that would happen. So let's look at this now. Who do I like here? Well, I like the Thunder. I've been on the Thunder all year. I picked them to win the NBA championship all year, and I'm not going to change anything now. Now am I going to bet them? No, because they're minus 770 favorites, which means you got to lay almost 8-1 to bet on them. There's no value in that. I guess you could find some prop bets maybe and get some value, but the only way to go here is to bet the Pacers at plus 525. That's the only value here. I don't think they're going to win, but could they? Sure. They have a very good team. Now, let's look at this Thunder team. And this is why I think that Sam Presti is the best general manager, president of basketball operations in the NBA, and maybe the best general manager in all the professional sports. Of course, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP of the NBA this year, 30 points a game in the postseason. Here's 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 47% shooting from the floor, 86% from the line. How about Jalen Williams? 20 points a game. Chet Holmgren, 13 points, 9 rebounds. But you put them all together. This is like putting a blend together. This is like a great chef at the in France. What is it? The Sorbonne? Isn't that the culinary school? Sam Presti is a genius at putting the ingredients together to make a championship contending team. Remember, he was the assistant general manager and the director of international scouting when he was with the San Antonio Spurs back when he was in his late 20s. He's the guy who found Tony Parker over in France. He's the guy who found Manu Ginobili in Argentina. He's the one that pressed to take Tim Duncan first. And I was begging the Lakers on the air back in the day, begging them to hire Presti as their general manager. They didn't do it. He goes to Oklahoma City. They quickly get to the NBA Finals. I think it was in 2011, 2012, whatever it was, when they had Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Now, listen to this. Over the years, he's lost Kevin Durant, Hall of Famer, Russell Westbrook, Hall of Famer, James Harden, certainly a Hall of Famer, Paul George, probably a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. He's lost all four of them, and look, they won 68 games this year. And they're always in contention, and they always have a good team. He rebuilds quickly. Why? Because he's a genius when it comes to the draft. He's a genius with free agents, and he's a genius in making trades. None better than when he stole Gilgeous-Alexander at 20 years old away from the Clippers in the Paul George trade. And not only did he get SGA, he got 5 first-round draft picks for nothing against Paul George. He's not SGA. Now, the reason the Clippers did this is because they thought that Kawhi Leonard wouldn't sign with them, and he was going to sign with the Lakers and team up with LeBron, and they were scared to death. And, Kawhi was letting it be known to the Clippers that, if you don't make this Paul George trade, I'm not signing. And he was lying, by the way. I've talked to people around Kawhi. Number one, there was only 2 teams who had a chance at him financially. It was going back to Toronto, which he was never going to do, or the Lakers. Now, they used the Lakers as leverage to get his buddy Paul George to play with the Clippers that make a trade for him. But he was never going to go to the Lakers. He doesn't like LeBron, and he didn't want to play with him. He didn't want to be second fiddle. He didn't want to stand off in the corner while LeBron was dribbling and handling the ball. He was never going to sign with the Lakers. What the Clippers should have done was called his bluff, not made the PG-13 trade, and I think he would have signed with the Clippers anyway. And you would have had SGA and Kawhi. Now you got something. Anyway, Jerry West was in the Clippers front office at the time, and he didn't want to make the trade. He knew what he had in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So did I, after I watched him play his rookie year. Jerry West tried everything to keep him out of the deal. He offered more number 1 picks. He offered 2 or 3 extra players. No matter what he tried, but Sam Presti was too smart for that. Nope, Jerry, no SGA, no trade. And the Clippers, Steve Ballmer stepped in against Jerry West's wishes and made the trade. Now they've got a mid-20s Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in his prime, MVP, and in the finals are probably going to win a championship. Jalen Williams, remember, he was a lottery pick back in the day. He's averaging 20 points in the postseason. Chet Holmgren, he was the second pick in the draft, missed his first season with an injury. He's turned into a very good NBA center, really good defensively, and he can shoot the 3 and handle the ball, too. Isaiah Hartenstein, second-round draft pick. Alex Caruso, a free agent acquired in a trade from the Chicago Bulls. We remember him with the Lakers. Lou Dort, Aaron Wiggins, Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe. I mean, nobody's ever heard of these guys. And yet Sam Presti mixed it up like one of the great chefs in the world, and look what he put together in Oklahoma City. These guys love playing with each other. They're all great friends. They're all unselfish. They share the ball. They trust and believe in their coach. And look at the results. Presti is a genius, the best front office man in the NBA, and in my opinion, the best front office guy in all the professional sports. Now let's look at how the Pacers match up. They were 50-1 to win the NBA championship before the season this year. Imagine if you would have got a couple of bucks on them. Now, it's not looking good with those kind of odds. The only teams with odds kind of similar to them that went on to win the NBA championship, the Pistons in 2004 were plus 500 against the Lakers, and they upset them in 1-5. Remember, that was Karl Malone missed that series with an injury, and Shaq quit on the team, on the Lakers. He wanted out, and he wanted to be traded, and he pretty much in game 4 and 5 quit. And Kobe got really selfish and started shooting the ball all the time because he was pissed off at Shaq because he was lazy and out of shape. That was a disaster. And the Raptors at plus 230 in 2019, kind of an asterisk. Kevin Durant tore his Achilles, I think in game 1 of that. I think the Warriors win that series, obviously, if Durant is playing. But anyway, those are the 2 teams with the longest odds in the modern era that have won NBA championships. The Pistons at plus 500, the Raptors at plus 230. Now, Tyrese Halliburton, he is a hell of a player, isn't he? 19 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists in the postseason. Pascal Siakam, 21 points. Miles Turner, 15. Aaron Nesmith, 14. And how about the way they're shooting the basketball in the postseason? Pacers, 50% from the floor, 40% from three in the postseason. Very, very impressive. So they can shoot it. So this is why I like watching them play. They're the best shooting team in the NBA, while the Thunder are the best team in the NBA. But again, Adam Silver, the NBA owners, the sponsors, they're probably all holding hands on the top of a skyscraper in New York City right now, contemplating ending it all. Goodbye, cruel world, because we're going to lose tens of millions of dollars. And do you agree with me that if Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever make the WNBA Finals this year, they'll get better ratings than the Thunder and the Pacers? I guarantee. I sound like Charles Barkley. Guaranteed. I think it's going to happen. And by the way, I wish the NBA Finals would go back to the 2-3-2 format. I hate 2-2-1-1-1. It makes for more traveling, more tired players, cross-country trips. Boy, 2-3-2 was perfect. 2 games at home, then 3 on the road, spread out over a week. That means you were rested. You were in your hotel all week. You didn't have to make 2 extra trips. Remember when they first went to 2-3-2, they said, well, this is unfair. The team with the middle 3 at home actually have the advantage because they got 3 games in a row at home. Well, it turned out to be just the opposite, as the visiting teams won 50% of the time in that 2-3-2 format. Why? Because they were rested. They had less travel. They were in town for a week. 2-3-2 is the only way to go. I think every NBA postseason series from the first round to the finals should be 2-3-2 in that format. But I love this final. We make jokes about the ratings, and they're going to be bad. They're going to be worse than the WNBA if Caitlin Clark gets there. And I'm sure that Adam Silver wishes Danny Davis and Bobby the Brain Heenan and Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, and Jesse Ventura, he could have trotted them out to be the officials there. Because the last thing they wanted was a Pacers-Thunder final. Woo! Dave Smith Unleashed, brought to you by MTS Transportation. 800-640-6873. 800-640-6873. Reliable, on-time delivery. Compliance you can count on. Round-the-clock support. Superior communication. Experienced logistics partners. And mention Dave Smith Unleashed and get 20% off your next shipment. MTS. 800-640-6873. And don't forget, we're giving away 4 tickets, the Dave Smith Unleashed show, to the Dodgers and the White Sox on July 2nd. How about row 3? How about free parking, preferred parking? How about access to the Stadium Club? How about all the goodies there? And you get to see Shohei Ohtani close up. You get to see Freddie Freeman and all those great Dodgers players, the defending World Series champions. But to win those tickets, you have to be a YouTube subscriber. So go to youtube.com/@thedavesmithunleashedpodcast.com. And if you're a subscriber, and if you comment on the YouTube sections down below and you view and all that, that's how you win. And we're going to pick a winner in the next couple of weeks, and you're going to Dodger Stadium on July 2nd with your family. 4 tickets, free parking, Stadium Club access. How can you beat that on a summer night in Los Angeles? So I'm going to go Oklahoma City in 6 because I like this Pacers team. I think they'll get hot. They'll shoot well. They'll win a couple of games. I'm going OKC in 6. And they're bringing the number 44 television market, the smallest market. No, I love this. The smallest market in the National Basketball Association winning a championship. I love it. I love it. So let's go, Thunder. Let's make Dave Smith look smart. If you want to know when the next Dave Smith Unleashed is going to be, make sure you go to my X account, @DaveSportsGod, @DaveSportsGod. And I'm always posting what show is posted now, what's coming up next, what the subject matter is going to be. So check in there, and you can always find Dave Smith Unleashed. And we'll talk to you next time right here